Towards the end of my time at Passion Planner, the CEO of the company, Angel, she decided that she wanted to go shoot a documentary in the Philippines. And it's like one night she called me up and she was like, "Hey, I have this idea. Um, are you down?"
Wait, what?
Yeah, she was like, she's very spontaneous and adventurous like that. And
She was
yeah,
she
she
was covering all
basically,
the costs or like
yeah,
oh okay,
yeah,
but I would
pretty
just say
much,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, okay.
yeah. So
That's dope.
she called me one night and she was like, I just came back from the Philippines and there's this story that I want to tell and I want to go. Are you down?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Dang.
So I was in the Philippines shooting with her and a few other people from Passion Planner for 2 months, and that was the summer of 2018, I want
Uh-huh.
to say.
Yeah.
So after spending 2 months of just having a camera in my hand every single day, experiencing and like documenting a lifestyle that I had no idea about, like I could relate to it, but again, it's like when you drop me in those new settings, I'm like taking in all this information.
Yeah.
What better way to take in this information than to like literally take it, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, that's deep.
Um,
That's a bar. Yeah.
um, yeah, we'll trademark that after this. And then after that, I before the documentary ended, I had to go to Angel and kind of be very straight up with her. Like, I don't see myself going back to an office space. Like, after this
Mm,
experience, there's no way that I could just go back to how my life was. And so before I even came back to the States, I put in my 2 weeks. And when I
wow.
came back, I was like, we're hitting this hard. Like,
Dang.
whatever happens, happens. But I just know that I have to go in this direction. Otherwise, I'm gonna suffocate and just drown in like all the what ifs, you know?
Yeah. That's such a big
Um,
jump. Like you're on the trip with the CEO and you're like, yo, I'm gonna quit. Like that's crazy. So how were you
yeah.
like confident like because I'm being realistic, right? You're in San Diego at this point, I'm assuming, right?
hmm
Um, you had a decent job, I'm assuming, and you were like, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna do my own thing. Like, did you kind of already have in the back of your head, or how did you just do it so spontaneously?
I think it kind of came during the trip is when it really, really hit me. When I
Mm,
again, like I was doing it. Like that was my first big project as and as a videographer. Like you put me on a documentary. I've never had that experience
yeah,
before. And so now that I've had that experience, my mentality in myself had changed and my mentality about what was possible changed.
yeah,
And it's again, it kind of stems from like the core message of Passion Planner. Like you can literally do anything you want, you just have to figure out what steps you need to do to get there. And so coming fresh off of that team and this documentary, I was like, I don't have any answers, but I'll go find them.
yeah,
And I was living like I didn't have that much to risk. Like I at that point in my life, like I was living with my dad, so I had a home. So it was like if I wasn't gonna be homeless if I wasn't getting all these gigs that I needed to be full time
yeah.
freelance.
Hmm.
But I kind of just put that I just had to trust myself.
Okay.
And I had a lot of people who supported me and who were there for me to like one of them being Valeria. I mean, like you know Valeria.
Yeah.
She's well versed in video production, and so um, shortly after the documentary is when we started dating, and she basically was like, "Yeah, here's video." Like she
That's
taught me a lot of
crazy.
different things, and she was like, "Oh, you want to try and explore these? Like you should consider like learning these techniques or whatever." And she kind of guided me in a sense of like how to not fall on my face as a
Wow.
freelancer because
Yeah.
she had been there. Like she went to
Okay.
school for film. She had her own production company with some of her friends, and now she was also working on that documentary.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, she's definitely been like one of those core people to be like, okay, here's how to not fall on your face while trying to go after what you love.
No, that's dope. Shout out Valeria, yo. Like, yeah, she's
Yeah,
always in her bag. I like